Yeah, I mean, I'm just not letting anything get me down, but I also have not lost faith in Richard Hart. I believe that he does deeply care about all of us. And I believe that a lot of people are underappreciating and underestimating him. But the truth is, we are a leverage play on ETH, and it's all about timing. And Richard Hart is very smart, and he's not going to waste this opportunity. And so for me, it's not about timing anyway, right? Like we can't say, okay, the end of December, we're done. Like we have to adapt to the markets and what's going on. And I'm not some market, you know, genius. Thankfully we have Caro in here for that. But I uh, I think we have to be flexible, right? And for me, I'm just not selling until we reach $1. So if that's in 3 months or 6 months or a year, I'm going to keep working my job and sticking to my plan because I don't know when Hex is going to hit $1, but I know it's going to hit $1. And so I'm going to keep collecting units at these cheap prices and I'm going to stick to my plan. And whenever that happens, it happens. But I'm not going to turn away from all of the onboards that I'm in these 15-year stakes with. And I do with all of my heart believe that staking Hex long term is the most powerful financial decision that anyone can make. And I'm not selling that to anyone because the truth is, the more that people do it, the less yield that I make. But if I can help just one person from financial slavery, I think it's worth it. I also come in a different circumstances, right? Like I work in healthcare. So I work with a bunch of doctors and assistants, and my patients are from all walks of life. But I see everybody struggling, and we're all maxing out our 401ks and we're beating ourselves to death and we're exhausted and our own health is going down. And it's all from financial stress. Everyone is strapped because of inflation. We all see it. We all live it every day. And there's got to be a better way. I work with doctors who owe $450,000 in student loan debt, and they lost a decade of their life working. I mean, from being in school that they didn't get to compound interest, and they're going to spend a decade of their life killing themselves just to get that debt paid off. So they're not even going to break even until they're in their 40s. And I'm seeing this all the time. And these people are hard workers. They do everything the right way, and the right way is failing everybody. And I do see something in Richard Hart that I don't see in anyone else. And I say that all the time, but I mean it. And I think that he really does want to make the world a better place. I know a lot of people have lost faith in him, but I haven't. I haven't, and I'm here for decades. I'm not going anywhere. And I would like for us to attempt to break down the tokenomics of the Richard Hart ecosystem and explain why it's designed to outperform everything else in the coming decades and how each coin benefits each other. They're not competitors of each other, but they all benefit each other, including pump tires. I think we should actually talk about that as well. I actually think that it's one amazing machine that are all going to just benefit one another. I think when it comes to pump tires, I actually underestimated the benefits of having pump tires until Giga had recently told me that it's burning like $20,000 of pulse every day. Fast, you might want to clarify if that's correct or not, but that's not even when we're really hitting the market hard. So if it's daily burning pulse to that level, then that impacts the entire system. And, it just creates and accelerates the scarcity of the rest of the tokens. So I think that it's incredible.
Yeah, no, pump dot tires. Sorry, I was multitasking as per usual. We're talking about pump dot tires, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it burns pulse, which is positive. I think people need to keep in mind that it's not the only thing that burns pulse. Pulse is actually, I think last time I checked, it was deflationary because it gets burned to do transactions, etc. So, pump dot tires just adds to that. And it's the thing to keep in mind, like, if you're a Hex maxi, if you're a Pulse Chain maxi and you don't want to touch meme coins, that's totally cool. But other people are going to do it anyway. So they might as well be burning some pulse, in my opinion.
I bridged over from ETH 2.5 months ago now, and I only started off with a small bag, and now my bag on Pulsechain is just as big as my Ethereum one. And it's just shocked me in the past 2 days because I had a look and I thought, holy moly, there we go. So I'm feeling good, feeling really good. And I just want to provide hopefully some edge, or not so much edge, but value from my perspective, just fresh. And so for the past 2.5 years, I've been hearing constantly about Hex and Pulsechain. Now, I didn't like what I was hearing, and especially from mainstream YouTube, because that's where I looked first. I mean, I was listening to the videos with my girlfriend and watching them with her, and she was trying to, get me over and hey, come on, it's a good chain, and all that jazz. And I entertained it. Like I was always listening, but the thing is, now in hindsight, I'm learning that my previous disgust, you could even say, that's a very powerful word, right? And even hate, right? I had a lot of pent up emotion against the image and perception of Pulsechain and Hex. In hindsight now, it wasn't on the tech itself. It wasn't on Richard Hart himself mostly, even though his ego sometimes is unattractive, but there are also positives to that as well. Hindsight is now telling me that it was my disgust and hate was not with the tech itself, but with the people presenting the chain. And the disgust and hate was me getting disappointed. I was just getting frustrated with people not selling the chain. Sure, they were selling the chain, with their YouTube channels and all that jazz. I agree, but it just wasn't selling it to me. That was what was frustrating me. They weren't selling the chain in a sexy, digestible manner. It was always CD deposits, tech, this, and that's what was frustrating me. And this is the epiphany that I'm, just coming across in the past week now. That I think, I hope that this can prompt maybe some more discussion. But I think that we should really, 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 really step up the marketing in terms of how we market this Hex and PulseX and Ink, because the last thing that I really want to hear about is the mechanics, the nitty gritty details, even though that is helpful for those who want to go deep in, like 100% yes. But for those who are just passing by, right? Just passing by. And for those on the surface, superficial and shallow surface, I'd absolutely love, and I'm craving for some people to sell Hex and Pulse in a sexy and digestible manner, where it's like, hey, buy some Hex and you can make money while you sleep. Boom, done. You know what I mean? So anyway, guys, that's what I wanted to get out. That's my energy. It's been pent up the past 2 years. And I just wanted to say that I'm over, and I hope that we can sell it better.
Yeah, Frog Boy, is there an example of somebody you could kind of point to that you would say is selling it the correct way or the more attractive way to you? Or like what that would look like if somebody were doing it the way that's more welcoming?
It's a really good question. I don't know of anyone yet. No one comes to mind first, which is we've got opportunity there, which is good. How would it look like? Super easy, digestible. What does that mean? It means that it's easy to understand within a sentence. Super simple, like a formula. 1 + 1 = 2. I don't want to have an algebra formula where it's like 69 squared times this divided by 2 = Hex. I want to know that 1 + 1 = Hex. You know what I mean?
Quick question, Frog. Have you actually gone back and watched any of the Richard Hart videos? Not videos about Richard Hart or about Hex, but have you gone back and watched Richard's videos on Hex?
That's a really good question. I have, yeah. Could I ask Temtem, how would you describe Hex? Using my prompt of like, hey, I would love like a simple formula like 1 + 1 = Hex instead of algebra formula. How would you describe it to someone that's like a friend of a friend that doesn't even know crypto?
Sure. So most of my onboards, they're people that are already conditioned to maxing out their 401ks every year.
Yep.
So I just describe it as a better alternative to our 401ks. I consider mine to be my own self-pension fund. And I usually tell people that it takes a third of the time to retire and usually a fraction of the cost. is how I see it. But I am also playing the long game with Hex. The first thing I do when I get an onboard, if I'm going to invest my time with you, I'm not going to charge you anything, but for me to onboard you takes several hours because we're going to go get a cheap computer that's just for crypto. We're going to go through all of the security measures, and you're going to at least do one 15-year stake. So you're not going to pay me, you're going to pay your future self, because I don't want to onboard traders and gamblers. I want people to have a long-term mindset with these assets. I think that anyone in these assets should have at least a 10-year horizon. Now, I'm not saying you have to put a lot of money into a 15-year stake, but one T-share is what, $150 or something, So I would tell them, hey, instead of taking me to a nice dinner or a night out, you're going to invest in yourself. And so really you can't lose. That's really how I see Hex. I think Hex will end up becoming the best performing asset of our entire lifetime.
I really like how you started that off, especially because you mentioned that you viewed it as a 401k, like a superannuation kind of bank for when you're older, that it just grows and grows. Is that what you were alluding to?
Yeah, so most people that I onboard have 401ks. So they're already conditioned to putting a portion of their income in every 2 weeks. It's automatic, right? When you work for a corporation, usually you have the option to choose a specific percentage of your income. I've always maxed mine out every year, my whole life. So I was always conditioned for that. So instead of putting the money in my 401k every 2 weeks, I max out that percentage into my staking ladder.
That's awesome. And could you, I like that. I like how you framed that. And I think that's easier than the algebra kind of formula, right? That really long division formula. Hey, it's a 401k. It's going to make you money, and you're going to have something even bigger when you're later on in life.
Well, like most people, they might spend 40 or 50 years working before they can retire, maybe 30 if they're lucky.
Yep.
So Hex can do that in at least half the time.
I like that. I like that. And who are you in onboarding? So you said those with 401ks. So that target audience, what's the demographic? Is it like,
Well, I
are they
work in
50-year-olds?
healthcare. I work in healthcare, and so I onboard anyone from school teachers to doctors to dentists. I've onboarded my OBGYN. Pretty much anyone that I end up talking to, I talk to them about Hex. And with my job, I've had patients for 16 years. And so they'll always ask me, hey, Tam, what are you up to? For the last 4 years, they've heard me talk about how excited I am about Hex and how the market is down and that we went from one token to an entire ecosystem. So we're building up our foundation, and that's given me the opportunity to buy in cheap. But again, I was buying Hex for the first time from 14 to 46 cents. So the fact that I can get the units that I can get right now, every day I go to work with the biggest smile on my face. I feel so grateful. I know so many people are down, but I'm kind of hoping that we don't run until 2026, because the longer these prices stay low, the more units I get to accumulate. Because really, I don't think we're going to ever see these prices again. I mean, I'm going to keep working 6-day work weeks until we at least hit 10 cents. And I know we're going to $1. Can I guarantee that to you? No. But I can tell you that I'm not going to take any profits on any of my Hex, on either one of my Hexes, until it hits $1. And if that means I work for another 2 or 3 or 5 years, I don't care. Because I know for certain that we will get to those milestones. And I will not spend the rest of my life regretting selling too early my future away when I know what our potential is. There's no way that Richard Hart went through everything that he's gone through and risked his entire reputation just for a 2x from what we did last time. So I feel pretty confident that we're going to at least hit $1. And what I plan to do is I plan to take my profits from $1 to $55, and whatever doesn't hit, I'm going to set into another 15-year stake and play the 2041 bull run with that money.
Yeah, hell yeah. I like that. Thanks for sharing that. So So how would you sell it to a different demographic for those who don't enter your world, and maybe it's a nephew, maybe it's a child, like a 10-year-old or a
Mhm.
20-year-old. Like, how would you sell to a younger demographic?
I mean, I really don't think that there's anyone that Hex doesn't benefit, whether it's a newborn child or a marriage. I mean, anytime I go to a wedding, I give them a Hex steak. You know, I think every husband, instead of buying them a diamond ring, they should give their wife a Hex steak for 15 years. And if you consider that the average marriage lasts 7 years, it's giving them more of a guarantee than what statistics are going to give them. But again, it's so cheap. It is so cheap to buy a t-shirt right now. I mean, it's insanely cheap. It's like hedging against your own bets, right? Like, let's say you have $1,000. And this is what I tell people that just have $1,000.
Yeah.
Okay, so you take $100 of that and you put that in a 15-year stake, and you're hedging against your bets. So yeah, that $900, it might 1000x or 500x or whatever, but that's not going to change your life, right? But if you put in $100 and Hex goes to $1,000 and you get paid, let's say 180 Hex a T-share after the OA's stakes end, now that is something that can change your life. And 15 years really is nothing, but it also gives you something to look forward to. It makes you want to be healthier and happier because you have something to genuinely look forward to. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, Frog, I think that for a younger person, here's how you just want to frame things in terms of time. Because you see, that's what Hex is ultimately monetizing, is time. But if you just say it like this here, like, you live for about 33,000 days, if you're lucky. And that really doesn't sound like a lot of time. How many of those days do you want to spend only getting to live your life in between time clocks and alarm clocks? I don't know about you, I want to spend very little of those days, the least amount of those days, the least amount possible between an alarm clock and a time clock, as I want those as many free days in those 33,000 days. And of course, a lot of people are going to agree, yeah, I don't want to be working all my life and everything. And they say, okay, well, now you start asking them questions. Be like, well, how do you propose, what do you think is the best strategy to shorten the amount of time that you need to spend working and expand and extend the amount of free days that you're going to have in your life? And some of them, they might say, well, I guess I invest in stocks or real estate and everything. And to that, you just say, you got to look at the things that are causing any of these investments to go up. And you got to take a look at the reason why we invest is to outpace inflation. And if we look at the returns that the stock market and real estate market have gotten over the past 40 to 50 years, it's only kept in line with inflation. A lot of times there's been many years where the stock market is negative in inflation. So there's only one asset class in the last 50 years that has been able to not only outpace it, but has been able to give you profit on top of it, and that's crypto. And if you want to know what crypto is the best, it's the one with the lowest liquidity. That's the one that's going to have the most exponential asymmetric gains possible. And you know what crypto has the lowest amount of liquidity? That would be the Richard Hart assets.
7 times less liquidity than last year. So it's getting more scarce.
How would we simplify Cairo's time arguments into a sentence?
We'll start with asking the question there. Be like, hey, you live for 33,000 days, if you're lucky, because that's 75 years. And how many of those days do you want to spend working? How many of those days do you want to spend doing things you really don't want to be doing? Get them talking. Get them invested in the conversation. Because like a great salesman, I knew this back when I was a financial advisor working in the branch office at Fidelity, we didn't do very good in our sales if all I did was I just stood there and talked my client's ear off. I had to make each appointment conversational, ask them questions, get them invested in the conversation, because then they feel like, well, okay, I'm invested in the decision of what I'm going to do here for my future and how I'm going to invest this money. And it's not me just taking orders from this guy that has a bunch of letters after his name and is wearing a fancy suit. It was us working together and him assuring me that my views, my opinions, my input counts just as much. So what I would recommend you do is, instead of having like a really catchy elevator pitch or anything. Just start by asking the questions of getting them to think about life in general, about how they want their life, what they want their life to look like, and what they want to do with their life. Because I guarantee you, it's not working. People don't want to spend their life working. So you get them talking about that, and then you can transform the conversation into talking about investments and talking about, like, why crypto exists in general and why it's better than stocks, why it's better than bonds and real estate.
I hear you, man. I hear you, and I like what you're saying. But let's just say for the mental exercise that we only have 20 seconds. We only have 20 seconds. We're not going to ask them.
That's already been
about that, but like
that's already been designed. If you go to Richard Hart's YouTube channel, there's the Hex elevator pitch, and it's an animation, and that is something you can share. I've shared that with thousands of people over the last few years. The Hex elevator pitch. Have you seen that already?
No.
Okay.
No. Could you tell me?
Okay.
That's all right.
Well, what? It's about a 1 minute video, about a 60-minute video that is the Hex elevator pitch that was approved by Richard Hart. So if you go to his YouTube channel, or maybe you can search on YouTube Hex elevator pitch, it might show up. I mean, other than having your contact and getting you that link myself, it'd be pretty easy to just search that out. But yeah, that's the elevator pitch. That's about a 60-second video, and that would explain it. I've onboarded about 150 people, personal friends, family, co-workers, neighbors, the people in the drive-thru at McDonald's. I've brought in about 150 onboarders, and most of them, 95% of them, were brand new to crypto, had no idea what a MetaMask wallet was or any of that. So it's been a lot of work onboarding people, getting them to understand what the security measures are that you need to go through, that Richard is emphatical about, the security measures that you need to go through. That's number one. And then getting those people to just get in. We'll talk about the tokenomics of it after you're in. Just get in. And the way that they would get in would be to dollar cost average whatever they could afford to lose on payday. If it's $20, it's $20. If it's $100, it's $100. But you do that religiously every Friday at the same time. You get your paycheck, you get home. The first thing you do is you go and DCA whatever you can afford, and you do that every week. And if you do that for 2 years straight, it'll make you a multi-millionaire. Like that's the pitch I was selling people. And everybody is still on that same thing that I've talked to. They're still DCA, whatever they can afford each week. They're still doing it. And now they're getting more tokens for their money compared to what they were, a couple of years ago, 2-3 years ago. And they're all ecstatic because they're getting more, because they understand this has gone to a certain price in the past. It's probably guaranteed to go to an even further price in the future, or a higher price in the future. So they're ecstatic just about being able to be a part of it. Trying to teach them all the nuances of the tokens and ladder staking and decentralization and all the things that we all know about. That's not important. The most important thing is get in. So just so that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, and I mean, we were number 3 at one point on CoinMarketCap. I mean, we were up there at the highest levels of the echelon. So, what he's saying, it makes sense. Like, get in. Like, we're also still early. Like, we only have 400 to 500,000 people. There's 675 million people onboarded to crypto, and there's 5.3 billion adults who have bank accounts. We have so much work to do. It's not even funny.
Right. Save all your questions for after you're in. Don't ask me the million questions before you get in, because then by that time you've lost money. So just get in. Get in. We'll answer all those questions. There's plenty of channels, plenty of spaces, plenty of videos. There's plenty of things for you to watch. There's thousands of hours of things for you to watch after you're in. Don't spend the thousands of hours watching the things before you get in. You will have lost.
Yeah, you got to bear in mind, money is a very emotional thing for people, and they're very emotionally charged around it. Like, they have their beliefs on it as strongly held as they do about their politics, their religion or what's the right way to raise your kids. So going in with like just a fact sheet or a fancy pitch or anything about it, no matter how carefully crafted it is, there are many layers you're going to have to penetrate first before they really even open up their heart to hear about it. So what I say we want to start this conversation is make it about a conversation about life more so than a conversation about investments. Make it a conversation about emotions and desires in life. Make it seem, I mean, I don't want to say make it seem, I want to say make it be that you legitimately care about this person that you're onboarding, because you could be the smartest person in the room. I learned this the hard way back when I was in financial services. You could be the smartest person that you could possibly be and know all sorts of technicalities, know all sorts of crap that other people don't know. But the fact of the matter is, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And when you show them that you do care, particularly about their future, their financial future, their freedom future, that's when they'll open their ears to you. That's when they'll open their hearts to whatever you want to share with them. And that's just some salesmanship in the sense of like, here's how you can win hearts and minds. Here's how you can change it. And when you are able to enter that level with a person, it doesn't even matter what you're selling. It doesn't even matter at that point, because like once you've won trust like that to the point where they're opening up their heart to you, then they're very likely to just buy whatever it is you tell them is the right thing.
Wow. The 150 people that I've onboarded, every one of them wanted to know what did I get from it? What do I get from, what are you going to get from selling me Hex? Does anybody know the answer?
Financial freedom.
I get nothing.
Exactly.
I get nothing from selling you Hex. I get nothing from showing you how to do this. I get nothing. So, that's, if you can't get the $20 out of their wallet to say, hey, just hand me $20. Hand me $20 and I will go through all the security measures and show you how to take this $20 bill and turn it into Hex. And then once you've done that, now they know how to do it. And say, now do that every week on Friday at the same time, every week. Do that for a year and watch them go. Let them do it. But it takes getting that $20 out of their billfold in the beginning, right? So I haven't had much problem with that. $20, that's 2 Starbucks,
Guys, that's I like a lot of what you guys are saying, and I agree a lot. Cairo talking about getting them to care. Getting them to know that you actually care. So I want to let you guys know that I actually care about you guys winning. I want you guys to win big. I was your biggest hater, essentially. Even though my girlfriend was in it and my family, I was your biggest hater. But now, there was an on-ramp for me to easily roll on into the Hex Richard Hart ecosystem. And I was like, thank God, yes, I finally have the capacity to at least contribute and participate in this ecosystem. And because it's also a courtesy to my girlfriend and family, because I want to be interested in the things that she's interested in too. So from being your biggest hater to now over here, I really want you guys to at least soak in, like, I actually care about you guys and I want you to win, because if I can help you guys win, it means that my girlfriend wins and my family wins as well. So keeping that in mind as context, I love everything what you guys are saying, but I want to challenge. I want to challenge you guys to give me and my demographic and other people as well, because I agree with a lot of what you're saying, but I've asked the question 2-3 times, and the closest elevator pitch I've got for Hex and all that is Tamtam's 401k, like a third of the time kind of idea. I liked that, but can I challenge you guys again just to give me like a 20-second?
Okay, so I got you. I understand. So what I did while you were speaking was I went to Richard Hart's YouTube channel to see if I could find the elevator pitch, and it's the very first video under Richard Hart's YouTube channel. So I don't know how much easier it could be. I thought it'd be harder.
I love that. I love that it's that easy. However, I would like it to be like, the challenge is I want you to give me the 20-second elevator pitch right here, right now, without even jumping on that.
I'll give you mine if you would like. I mean, I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
So for me, it's Bitcoin with a proof of work change that allows you to lock up your funds and the proof of work change is time. So you lock up your funds and then you get more hex. And if the value of hex goes up, you've compounded your hex and you get more hex at the end of the day for serving your time as long as you stay to the contract. Now you don't have to stake it, you can hold it liquid too, and that's an option if you think that the price is going to go up and, you know, take advantage of that too. But again, Bitcoin with the proof of work change, we don't use electricity and miners. That's an old, you know, conundrum that people used to do. They still do it in Bitcoin, but you know, we can do the same sorts of mining without that now. I know that's not like, you know, if you're not crypto native, right, you may not, you know, absorb that. But I mean, that's really what we're here. I mean, that's why I'm here. I don't know how to say. I mean, if you're gonna get into crypto, like I get the idea. You're wanting to make all these gains. Like I get it. Okay, but I mean, you want to understand what you're getting into. You don't want to just throw money into something that you have no clue, you know, what you're throwing money into. You might as well just go to a slot machine if you're taking that mindset. You need to understand what crypto is. Why was crypto created? You know, get into it. Go read a book on blockchain and crypto.
That was more
It's
than
not
20
just
seconds.
throw money at a ticker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Max has his hand up. Let's let him go, and then Frog, I'll give you my elevator pitch.
Okay, guys, I'll keep it simple and quick. Thanks everybody for doing this. Tam, Fast, Cairo, everybody else, you guys are awesome. So what I do with my onboards, basically, is what I'll do is I'll just tell them that this is the first time in my life that I've actually been able to save. Hex actually, Richard Hart's plan actually created a system that I could save money on. I actually get paid every night. I look at my portfolio, it gives me X amount of coins. Every night I look at it, certain time, 8 o'clock every night, my time zone, I get new coins. That's, and you look at it, is that $1? If those, each one of those coins is $1, that could be $10, $50, $500. And I get paid it every night. And it's a safe code. I don't have to worry about it being hacked. It's never been hacked. It's been up for 5 years. That's my pitch. And the next step I give these people, and this is as simple as it gets, is Lynn May did an interview with Richard Hart on Link Up TV. I give everybody that video, and then they come back, and 99% of the time they will buy because of the man, Richard Hart, period. And that's all really I have.
Man.
Excellent. So, yeah, you guys heard me say it every single week about the Hex being the one yield-bearing asset that is not somebody else's liability, but still, there's a lot of financial jargon even in that phrase there. So, Frog, let me ask you this here. These younger people that you're looking to pitch to, do you think that they would understand the term passive income? Like, if you use that term, they would know what that means?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's what you say. You know what Hex is? Hex is programmed passive income. We're not relying on somebody to pay it to me. It's programmed into the code. That's Hex.
Passive income.
Yeah,
Passive
programmed.
income.
Programmed passive income.
That you control 100%.
This is really good. This is, I think we're definitely getting sexier and sexier with each input from everyone. This is good because guys, I'm asking because I want to be working for these bags. I want to be shilling so that you guys win, because if you guys win, if there's any winning on the chain, the whole chain wins in the ecosystem.
I drafted
So,
a sexy one for you if you have 20 seconds.
Ooh, yeah.
Okay, Hex is the first blockchain certificate of deposit, a decentralized savings product on Ethereum and Pulsechain. Instead of banks, you lock your Hex and earn yield directly from the protocol. The longer you stake, the more you make. Hex has no middleman, no company, no off switch, just immutable code paying trustless yield. It's designed to reward time and commitment, with over $1 billion in stakes showing the community's conviction. Hex is crypto's first finished, audited product that does exactly what it promises: is pay you for holding.
Ding ding, winner.
So thank you. Thanks, Fast. Thank you. I'm here for the tech a little bit too. But so essentially, I buy Hex and I get paid money every week while I sleep.
Yeah, can I just interject real quick? I just want to. So, I'm assuming you're going to be about my age, maybe, and the people you're shilling to are going to be about my age. I'm assuming I'm like 22 right now, so I think maybe I can speak to that a little bit, because I see you're trying to. I can't find a better term, but I don't want to say dumb it down, but kind of present it in a way that's understandable to a younger generation, I guess. Am I kind of right on that?
Yeah. I want to be able to sell it to my mum so that she's
Right.
like, oh, yeah, cool.
So I'm just going to bounce off some of the ideas that other people say. It's going to be basically a conglomerate of ideas, but I'll try to sum it up. So to me, when I first found out about Hex, I looked through Richard Hart's videos and all that, but what really sold me was the fact that I could, like some people said in here, you can make money while you sleep, right? And not only that, but it also doubles. So you earn yield, correct? And you also earn on whether the asset goes up. So there's two ways that you make basically double your money, correct? So that's how I usually present it to people when I onboard people. I say, look, this is a passive income. This is some sort of passive income that you can utilize and buy into every so often. And look, it's not going to be cheap forever. So the sooner you get in on it, the quicker you can see these gains. I guess it's not the best well spoken. I'm a little kind of all over the place, but that's the way I would really like to describe it to people, especially in like the most basic understanding of it is just, look, you put your money in, you get some money out, and in 15 years, however long you want to stake it, when your stake does end up coming out, you're going to have a lot more than what you started with. The longer you stake it, the more you're going to have, and it keeps you from trading. I know this is a little bit over 20 seconds, but that's like the best way I've known to describe it to people is you're doubling your money, and it's guaranteed that you will have more Hex if you stake it for a longer time. Stuff like that, especially when I look at the price, and then, I'll bring up the price charts and maybe possible price predictions and stuff like that. But yeah.
And hurry up, because once
Kind
they're
of
gone, they're
going a little
gone.
over this 27.
Hurry up. Once they're gone, they're gone.
Yeah, 100%.
Yep.
Yeah, once these things are gone, we only have, I think, last time I checked, I think it was like 20 minutes. Oh, okay, don't quote me. I'm going to butcher that number, but there's not a lot of Hex left, brother. I think it was if like 30 people put in 1 million, all the Hex would be gone. Don't quote me on that number, but somewhere around there. There's not a lot of Hex left.
Hey, Johnny Chaos, how many Hex are left and how much is it? What's the value?
Not much, man. I'm not really checking it. I just want to throw this out for Frog Boy. Let me simplify it real easy. Hex is a code that makes Hex, just like Bitcoin's a code that makes Bitcoin. Pulsechain is a faster, cheaper version of Ethereum. PulseX is basically owning part of the exchange. And the Ink token is a token that incentivizes people as a reward for providing liquidity. And I've said many times that we overcomplicate the heck out of things, and we expect too much of people to enter. They've got to learn this, they've got to learn that, they've got to learn it all. We want to bring everybody up to our level. We are 4 years ahead of crypto, this whole pay per play sort of crypto scenario. We are not influencers, we are participants, we are enthusiasts, and we believe in the blockchain. And the deeper you go, when you're talking about code, that is where the algebra does come into play. And we do have people that are providing education on liquidity pools and stuff like that because, that's necessary information. But it can be intimidating at first, absolutely. And, I think I've got you blocked because I think at one point in time you were being a hater, and I just don't have time for that. But in reality, the thing is, we are here trying to educate people about how this stuff works so that people don't just think crypto is owning your coins on an exchange and living within the parameters of that institutionalization that they're trying to force you into. That's not what crypto was designed to do, and that's why we're here.
Do you think that the decentralized aspect of Richard Hart's ecosystem is important to explain to new people with all the things going on in the world with stable coins and digital IDs and all that stuff?
Oh, absolutely. But the problem with decentralization is people go for convenience, and it's way easier and more convenient to just say, what app do I download and give me a list of coins to buy? That's the easy thing to do, right? It's not until they experience a problem where Coinbase freezes your funds or you're on a network that goes down. It's not until they reach that point. They have to have the experience. And again, we can't expect people to just like preemptively see these problems coming, like you said, Joe, you were very correct. Just get in and grow your knowledge a little bit each day. You can't expect to gain 4 years of knowledge and 5 minutes of someone talking to you. So we can dumb it down, but again, we still need people out there to really explain how the functionality of this stuff actually works. So when they do want to go deeper, they can seek that out. And, if they don't have time to learn right now, well, that's fine. Eventually they will learn. We all had to learn. The
Yeah.
reason we've had to learn, go ahead, Ash.
Oh, I was just going to say, I mean, yeah, you could buy NVIDIA stock and you own NVIDIA stock, but then you could also go deep into, what does NVIDIA sell? What products? How are their chips built? You can start to get very deep into the weeds, or you could just buy the stock, right, and hold a ticker. And, some people want to do that, and that's totally fine. I say, great. If you love something and you think it's great, do it, but others want to know more and go deep and really try to understand, what are they in, and it's a journey for them of unpacking the truth. They're on a journey to seek truth.
Yeah.
So everyone has their own place in this, right?
Yeah.
And I
Yeah,
know a
so-
lot of people get worried about all of the hex coming out from, from stakes for the rest of the year. But Tangent ran the numbers the other day, and he said that at the current prices right now, between what's coming out in eHex and pHex, it's only $10 million. Really, that's not a lot of money.
Considering that we were running $10 million days in the bull market, I'd say, yeah, not really much money.
Look, guess what? As of 2 weeks ago, I only found out that Hex went to like 257 billion. What the fuck? Sorry, excuse my language, but what the hell?
Because we reached the number 3 position, but nobody ever saw it. We saw it. We were running around screaming, hey, you want to fix this? Is this a fair and trusted site? Or is this, we're going to show you what we want to show you? So, like I said, a lot of the resistance that we've experienced is what has forced us to learn. Just like people saying, oh, well, there's, Richard owns too many of the coins. Okay, let's go check. Oh, wait a minute. BNB, the top 100 holders, own 99.45% of the coins, and they're calling that decentralized. And no sooner did I posted that video, did they break it up in daughter addresses, and it dropped down to like 70% in the top 100 wallets. But I mean, that's the kind of stuff that happens. We've been hidden. People won't talk about us. There was literally a campaign at launch where like everybody went out there and it was Hate on Richard Day, and some of us, that's why we actually popped up, was because it's like, what did this guy do? I mean, literally, what did he do? He's literally handing out free coins to Bitcoin holders. You don't have to participate in the AA. You want to know how many people lost money from free claiming their free hex for their Bitcoin? Zero. There's not a single report of that. He handed out free coins. He did it again with Pulsechain, free airdrop. If you had coins on May 20th or May 10th, 2023, you got free coins. Everybody got free coins if they had it in their own wallet. Those free coins are still there. People have free coins right now. They don't even know that they got them because mainstream influencers won't even tell them that there's a chain over here with a free airdrop.
So they're fearful of the ecosystem. They're fearful. They're trying to gatekeep because
I don't think it's so much about fear. I think it's more so about like they can't make money off of Hex, because you look at like the coin ranking sites, a lot of that is controlled by Binance. Binance is not going to get to make money off of Hex because we're staying decentralized. We're not trying to be on all these centralized exchanges, or we're not going to pay to be on those centralized exchanges. And the powers that be in centralized crypto world, they don't like that because they don't want other coins doing the same thing. And then all of the crypto users, all the crypto investors going that way, because that puts them out of business, or that severely reduces their business if there's no margin trading and all that. Go ahead, Johnny. What were you going to say?
It's coming, Cairo. It's coming. It's called blockbustering, and we're going to Netflix them. So this is where it happens. See, because of all this resistance that we've experienced, it has forced us to go around the gatekeepers. Just like, your mainstream news, now people go on the internet and they go search alternative news because they know they're getting bullshit when they're watching mainstream news. They know it. So they're seeking alternate news. They're wanting people to tell them the stories that they're not wanting to talk about. So that very much closely relates to what's going on with us. We now have on ramps like 0x Coast. We've got the Hyperlink or Hyperlane now. We are creating direct from fiat directly into Pulse passages to where you no longer need a centralized exchange. You no longer need to pay them $1 million so that they can list and sell your coin and then have to give them an allocation of your coin just so they can sell it down on your head. So that's the problem. And what happened was the first resistance, or the first line of resistance, was when DeFi was starting up, the Ethereum S-load functions went through the roof. And it was $150 a swap. So that forced a condition to why would you want to go into DeFi? Why would you want to use a decentralized exchange if it was $150 a swap? No, that forced everybody right back to decentralized exchanges. And that was all part of the plan. And if you watch these centralized exchanges' new promotions, they're giving excuses for you to give them your coins so they can hold them for you so that you don't have them and they do. They're trying to justify their existence as a middleman now. They're afraid. Watch their commercials. They're like, Lord, do not listen to these people to tell you how to make your own money from your own wallet and not have to use us as an intermediary. They're setting this up, and they've created this problem because they don't want to talk about what's going over here, and people are going to start searching for it. When they have a need, they're going to find it, but they've got to have that need first. They've got to have that experience where Coinbase locks up their money for 2 months. Okay, once they have that experience, they're going to have to say, hey, there's got to be a better way of doing this. Where is it? This is what happens when you're hours early to the party and people haven't shown up yet. Yeah, it feels terrible. Nobody showed up yet. The dancers aren't here. The DJ's not here. You're sitting at your table with a buddy having a beer and you're going, God, this party sucks. And if you leave too early, what you're going to find out is you're going to miss the party of the century that everybody's going to be talking about for years.
People always ask me where my conviction comes from, but they don't understand. I've been scammed twice. I've had my money locked up. I had that, what was it called? Gate.io. I had like $20,000 in there and they had my money locked up. I didn't get it for months. I thought I was completely screwed over. Then I also had my money in FTX and Celsius because I was chasing yield. And Richard was
Get it,
literally
Tam.
yelling. Yeah, no, but this is before, right? And I would listen to Richard and he's yelling on stream, literally yelling at us, get your money out of those centralized exchanges. They're going to zero. And I finally, literally, finally took my money out because I was tired of hearing him at me about it. Thank God he did bitch. Thank God he did yell and fight and just keep at us on it.
Seems to be a race, with all these L1s, all these different L1s with the reshifting of the financial institution. Look at the big banks, everybody's racing. And that's why they keep pushing Pulsechain down, because it truly is uncentralized. Everybody else has some kind of gate. Everybody else is more than happy to bend down to a gate, but it seems like Pulsechain is truly sent. That's why it's so hard to get into. That's why it's so hard to understand. And
Yeah, it's not like any other crypto. That's why I think people have a hard time understanding it. They try to compare the rest of the market to Pulse Chain and Hex and try to put it into this, box, and it just doesn't work. It doesn't work with our ecosystem. Like, our ecosystem is something completely unique and different compared to all that. So it's just it's hard to communicate to that, because a lot of other people have just been so used to certain preconceived notions with crypto, and they all it takes is they just have to learn, I guess, because I've already gone through all that.
Well, understanding, I'm with you guys. Education is key, and if we try to wave shiny objects and tell them this is going to be worth $1 million, and like Bitcoin was, Bitcoin, like Richard kind of talks about, it has no utility anymore. You can't buy anything with it. You can't send anything to it, and and most people are buying it through a third party in an exchange. So it really it means nothing. But if we start to actually address and try to educate people on how utility, especially with AI coming in, AI is going to be the ultimate thing on a decentralized exchange as a blockchain. It's kind of funny, the tablet that Richard sent out, all a blockchain is somewhere where it stores a contract, something that you draw. So you can draw something on that little device and it could be on a blockchain and it would be immutable.
Yeah, Magic Pony pictures, remember?
Well, these are definitely
you're right
great
about that.
conversations to be had and to really be thinking about for the future. Because for me, and I know my game plan's probably vastly different than most people's, but I'm not on a time restriction. I'm going to keep working my job. I'm going to keep climbing the mountain here with you guys, and everybody can sell at whatever prices they want, and I will celebrate with them. I want to see as many success stories as possible. But for me, I'm sticking with my game plan. I plan on having orders, or if we even have sell orders by then, but I'm going to start selling at $1, and I plan to have sell orders all the way to $55. And whichever ones don't hit, I'm going to restake out for the 2041 bull run. That's my plan. I'm sticking to it. But I was thinking that if I borrowed instead, if that would leave me in a better position. And maybe at that time, I guess I was kind of thinking of it as, if we get to $1, we're probably not going to go to 10 cents again. So I thought maybe I would have some more cushion on risk there. But again, it's not something I really looked into. So it's good to learn your insight on that.
Yeah, the collateralization, like if you have it, like if you're putting up so much, right, you just want to make sure it's a small enough that you're a loan that you're taking that it won't completely liquidate you. That's really how it is, from what I understand. But I don't really use it that much, to be honest. I just don't see it really, the value of it yet. And that's just maybe my own, where I'm at in crypto.
Well, and maybe as they get more established and our whole foundation gets more established, maybe at a later date they'll be more realistic to use. I mean, if I need to sell, I'll sell. But of course, if I can get away with not selling and taking a loan out instead and then not having to pay taxes, that would be the ideal scenario, right?
True.
My game plan for Hex, I'd like to see an exchange listing, and I'd like to see a lot higher prices, like new all-time high. So yeah, I'm not really like dealing with any liquid Hex, because I staked everything. Longer pays better, but yeah, like following along other projects this cycle, I'm like getting more insights into how they do their marketing and how they get exchange listings. And so I hope that'll be valuable for our community too.
Do you know we got a MEXC listing completely lined up? Panos did this work, by the way, because we were told there was a particular whale in the community that said he would cover it if it was organized. And it was fully organized, ready to go, in a group together, got the listing agent in the group, and then he left the group. It was only $60,000.
Ass beating I've ever seen any community take in all of crypto. I don't think I've ever seen a L1 or any crypto that is this bad. And that is why I bought it. But there's many reasons. Let me just say, Richard, if he wanted to walk, this is the biggest thing that I'm getting a lot of pushback on my TikTok and talking to multiple different people. If he wanted to walk away with a lot of money, he could have done it long ago. That is one of the biggest reasons I made entries, because he spent a lot of money.
Good point.
It's
Very good point.
There's two reasons I got involved. Two reasons. My first entry was EHEX. Okay. The reason I bought EHEX is because of what the actions that he took when he staked it for 15 years. When he locked up the supply, it killed the yield, but that showed his intentions. Okay. The second thing was the amount of money and the effort that it took to fight the SEC case. Any scammer that wanted to walk away would have done so long before that. So that is one of the biggest reasons that I believe he's not going to walk away. Like the negative sentiment that you're seeing everybody crash out and go crazy, he's not going to walk away. So that's my take on it. When you got crazy negative sentiment right now, and I think it's going to get a lot worse, by the way. So I'll let you guys reply.
Bro, we've been calling him the fat man for like 3 years now, and
I don't know why we keep calling him the fat man. He's not that bad.
Watch him come back, and he's going to
be honest.
Or something.
I don't think he's going anywhere. He could have went away a long time ago if he wanted. He could have been like, the Interpol's after me. I'm done.
He's not that overweight. I mean, why do people like he's like, I don't know, man. Like, he's okay.
Pete, a little bit of context. A little bit of context is like, for one, when he was talking with an actual Playboy playmate and his fupa did slip out on camera, was hilarious. So that was a good joke.
I got a little bit of a belly.
Back in the day, bro, There was a meme that said like Richard Hart, high carb gains or something like this. And it was like a ultra obese like version of Richard eating chicken wings. And it was one of his favorite memes. So just to be fair, like he did love that meme.
He's called himself fat on more than one occasion also. Like
he doesn't give a shit about that.
Yeah.
Money.
I'm just saying he's 30 pounds overweight. That's it. That's not fat.
Maybe like
easily fixable.
maybe
Easy.
like
I could fix that in 6 months.
Exactly. I could do that in a month because I know how to train hard.
Easy 1 month. Eat correct and just do a lot of workout, cardio stuff like it's easy. Main thing's
I've
eating.
never understood the fat
Pete's
thing.
my business partner. I've been training him.
Yep.
I think the fat thing is not about reality, but it's sort of just the joke that people are running with because it's funny and Richard goes
They
with
attack
it
his weakness, right? That's the only. It's like one of his only weaknesses, so they attack it. That's it.
I am super determined to meet him. Very, very hell-bent and determined to just have a nice conversation and meet him face to face.
You will, Tiger. You will, 100%.
100% looking forward to that more than anybody knows.
I can promise you will because you've been so positive. You've been correct about everything.
Super.
Yeah.
I believe he is much different than we think he is, and I'm going to get to know that.
No one was able to explain to me his mindset better than you. Nobody.
I believe that.
I don't know. Let's bring Camel Toe Richard back. Remember his camel toe and his Gucci suit? I think that would fucking pump our backs. Like, where's that Richard? Like, bring the camel toe back.
And the more choices we have to offer on our chain, the more people we're going to bring in, right? And somebody might come in and start with a meme coin and then eventually to store their value. I mean, I look at Hex as the premier store of value on the entire network. So by everything else winning on the chain, Hex is also ultimately going to win as well, right? I know some people don't really see Hex as the store of value right now because it did go down so much. But I believe that as it builds its strength, and again, we got to remember there's only 5% room to get in. So by the OA staking, he's basically given us 2 halvings. And, you know, everyone is bullish when Bitcoin has a halving. So we got 2 of them. We got a quartering, actually. The inflation was reduced by 4. It went from 8 to 1.5 for the payout. And then, of course, it will start to go up again. But I think people really underestimate what that means for Hex. And people aren't going to realize how scarce it is until it's no longer on the market. And people are literally waiting for people to unstake so that they can purchase Hex. And I believe that at that point, people are going to really start to get it. Now, when that happens, I don't know. But I do believe that that was the design.
Can you all hear me?
Hey, Max.
Yeah, we hear you, Max.
Great to have you.
How's it going?
Great.
Yeah, I wanted to zoom in because I talked a little bit about earlier. Tam tagged the thread about the people asking like, why would you still stake today? I think it's a really common question. And what I think, when you look at the staking yield where it's not 20% easily anymore, it may be 2, 3, 4% or so, even 5% maybe. I think it really gets overlooked because when you think about it in money, when you think about it in US dollar terms and you get, if I get 4%, that's not very attractive. At least right now, Hex isn't a stable coin, there's a lot of volatility up and down with it. So when you think about it in Hex terms, even 4%, I mean, it doesn't look as attractive right now to stake. But if the price, goes up a lot, which we all hope it will, and I think that 4% in Hex terms is really amazing. And if the price was 50 cents or $1 or $2 right now, I don't think it would even be a discussion. But where it's, sub penny or around a penny, everyone's like, oh, why would you stake? Why would you lock up? You can talk about D shares. I'm sure we'll get into some of the different tokenomics and stuff on that as well. But just the fact that even if you only get 4%, and that could be hundreds, thousands of dollars depending on your stake size. So I think the whole staking is dead narrative. Why would you stake 4%? I think there's a lot more nuance that goes into it because you're not looking at dollar terms, you're looking at Hex terms when you're making the yield as well. So that's just one point I would make on Hex staking. Even though we went through the halvenings and inflation's been lowered and the OA and all this stuff, there's a lot more to it, and I think it'll be reframed a little bit if we're able to get some good price action coming up.
I really resonate with what Max just said about how you should view staking Hex, because if you look at it in terms of how much Hex you're actually getting, even though we're at these low prices right now, you're still getting that yield, which is what a lot of people aren't getting at this time because they just don't know about the power of Hex as a store of value. So, fortunately for me, when I first established my stakes, including my 5555 stakes on both chains, I was fortunate enough to get in when the payout was still on the higher side. So just seeing that transition from what we were getting before to what we're getting now, it's a bit of a difference. I won't lie, but at the same time, you have to look at being in this for the long term, and just the simple fact that we're here at this point in time and we have this opportunity right in front of us, and just knowing how early we are, it's like we're truly blessed to be here in this position to take on this opportunity as early as we are. So I'll go into more details later because I see someone has their hand raised, but again, I just wanted to resonate with what Max was saying because he was spot on, and that's how I view this staking opportunity with Hex as well. So I'm just happy to be here.
I'm going to say something about the unit of measurements, and Cairo will probably attest to that since he's got some, experience in TradFi, and obviously I'm a financial advisor as well, so he knows the story. So, when you look at two different units of measurement, it just depends on what value you place on each unit. One unit has to be, happens to be the dollar, which is, obviously devalued as, more and more as time goes on. But with that devaluing, you're still getting more of a unit of, a higher appreciation or unit of measurement on just the actual unit of Hex. So you have two different value systems in place. One, yeah, it went from what, 8, we were getting 8 down to what, 1.3, 1.5 now. But in all reality, that should be a signal to everybody else to understand that, if Richard, basically created and designed Hex to be, a better Bitcoin, then obviously that move right there probably should have been a strong enough signal to everyone else, of what maybe is to come, and what, how strongly do you believe in that narrative? And so that's kind of, what I wanted to touch on, and maybe elaborate more on what Max was saying, because that's kind of the thought process that goes into, are you a believer in the ecosystem? How much are you going to value those units of Hex that you did accumulate, that you did stake and earn yield off of? So there is, like, I guess you could say, a large dynamic that goes into play when you look at those two value-based systems.